Hi, my name is Eve Johnson. Welcome to this introduction to original alignment. Here's one thing I think I know about you already. If you're watching this, you're not happy about your posture. Almost no one is. Maybe your back hurts, or your hips, or your knees, or your neck. Maybe you saw an unflattering photo and thought, oh God, I'm growing my mother's hump. Or maybe, like me, you've had a solid yoga practice for decades and yet your upper back still rounds, and if you stand too long, your upper back hurts and you have a nagging pain in your SI joint. Here's what you might want to know about me. I took my first yoga class with an Iyengar teacher called Wendy Davis in 1987. In that first class, she tapped my upper back between my shoulder blades and said, "Here's where your work is." I loved Iyengar yoga. I went on to become a certified Iyengar teacher, opened a yoga studio, and taught there for 17 years. And all along the way, teachers tapped my upper back between my shoulder blades to tell me my thoracic spine was too rounded. So I would try to correct my posture. I'd bring my chin parallel to the floor, my shoulders back and down, lift my chest. Aside from being yoga prompts, that's pretty much standard postural advice. But it's a lot of work and it creates a lot of tension. This is not a posture that you can relax into. It makes you tired. After 30 seconds, you're back to slumping. Wouldn't it be great if there was a posture solution that did work? What if you could be comfortable in your body and not be either rigid or slumped? What if there was some ideal human posture you could learn? One other thing about this posture, it would have to respect gravity. In the zero gravity of space, our bodies lose bone mass. Fluid rises up to our brains because there's no gravity to keep it down. Eyesight deteriorates. Watch footage of astronauts being welcomed back to Earth. They are wrapped in blankets and helped towards chairs because they're too weak to stand and walk on their own. On Earth, we live in gravity like fish swim in water. It's our environment and we don't feel it. But gravity is always working on your body. It's either pulling you together towards your center or it's pushing you apart. Your choice. Here's some really good news. This relaxed, aligned posture not only exists, you've already experienced it. When you were learning to walk, you had to solve a problem. You had a big head and a relatively small body. If you didn't balance the weight of your head in line with gravity, you couldn't stand up and walk. Most of our grandparents and great-grandparents lived in line with gravity, and millions of people all over the world still live in line with gravity. This posture, this graceful, strong, pain-free posture, is our birthright as human beings. When someone is aligned with gravity, their weight is in their heels. Their pelvis sits on top of their thighs. It doesn't hang behind. They have a short, sharp arch at the base of the spine and a long, shallow indentation from the base of the spine to the base of the neck. That's not where we are now. The defining feature of this posture, let's call it modern posture, is that the pelvis is forward of the line of gravity. If you push your pelvis forward and don't take your upper body back, you'll fall over. Taking the pelvis forward creates a rounded upper back. We don't want to feel like we're leaning backwards, so we lift our chest in an attempt to lengthen our spine. But as soon as we lift our chest, we create a hollow in the lumbar spine and, sadly, even more rounding in the upper back. Add a cell phone and a head poked forward, and you have the full posture catastrophe. Now, instead of transferring down our bodies and into the ground, our upper body weight slams into our lower back and hip joints. The weight of our pelvis slams into our knees, and instead of landing on our heels, the whole accumulated weight ends up in the slender, delicate bones of the foot. Hello, fallen arches. Hello, bunions. So, what happened to us? How did we go from healthy, gravity-aligned posture to posture that is causing debilitating back pain, even in teenagers? Well, posture is cultural. People are social beings. We all do something called postural mirroring to help us fit in. When you're having a cup of coffee with a friend, you will unconsciously, on a small scale, mirror their posture and their gestures. At about 3 years old, children begin to really notice the people around them in fine detail. We all want to be just like mom or just like dad, and so unconsciously we mirror their posture. But this is a coffee date that never ends. Our posture is the result of habits. If we imitate people who are out of alignment with gravity, we learn to be out of alignment with gravity ourselves. That begs the question, what happened to all the adults? You can put some of it down to sedentary lifestyles, to the Industrial Revolution, to bucket seats in cars, to Eames chairs, to Adirondack chairs, which are even worse, to deep couches, and in general to chairs with backs. Most modern furniture actively discourages healthy posture. Sitting with our heads poked towards a computer screen isn't helping either. But the far more powerful truth is that we've been taught that modern posture is cool. This is our cultural blind spot, and it's a giant one. From the 1920s on, when the flappers cast off their corsets, they were no longer straight-laced. They also cast off an old-fashioned posture. Now the pelvis went forward. Slouching became chic. And the fashionable pelvis just continued to move forward and further forward through the decades. You sit that way too. That translates into sitting on your pockets with your spine bent into a C shape. The bones of her spine are in free fall, and the weight of gravity goes directly into her organs. Here's Steve McQueen, the coolest of them all, sitting on his pockets. Once you stop focusing on the six-pack and the chiseled jaw, what you see is a head poked way too far forward over an old man's rounded back. Not so cool. I saw this mannequin a couple days ago. Her hips are so far forward and she is so thin that her hip bones stick out under her clothes. I had to take a picture. As I was figuring out the angles, one of the saleswomen came over to check me out. I pointed to the hip bone as the source of my interest, and she said, "Yes, it's so beautiful." No, it's not. It's tragic. Pelvis forward posture isn't healthy. It's time for us to stop. Thanks to 50 years of research by a French woman named Noelle Perez and her students in Europe and North America, we know exactly how to return to original alignment. Noelle was a yoga teacher when in 1959 she went to India and became one of Yoga Master B.K.S. Iyengar's earliest European students. So, prompted by her studies with Iyengar, and especially his insistence that her students should be finding the axis, Noelle had a startling insight. Instead of studying people in pain to find out what they might be doing wrong, she decided to study people without pain to find out what they were doing right. She found these people in Asia, in Africa, and eventually in Portugal, where she studied a group of longshoremen in a fishing village who carried their loads on their heads. From her research, we know what a healthy spine looks like, and we know the optimum position of the pelvis to create that healthy spine. With her students, Noelle identified the exact postural habits down to something as apparently minor as how they held their feet that let us live in what she called a plumb, meaning on the plumb line or in line with gravity. I took off my cultural blinders in 2016 when I went to a workshop in original alignment with Jean Couch at the Balance Center in Palo Alto in California. In 2 days, I learned why my upper back rounded and how to make it straighter. And my SI joint pain disappeared. Better still, I learned that I had the power and the knowledge to turn off pain in my body at its source. 6 years later, I have more energy and I'm more relaxed and happier than I've ever been in my life. So what can original alignment do for you? It can remove pain caused by postural misalignment. More than 80% of visits to chiropractors are for pain caused by mechanical problems. That means pain caused by misaligned posture. So if you have pain in your lower back, upper back, neck, shoulders, hips, knees, or feet, there is a better than 80% chance that coming into original alignment will remove that pain. Original alignment permanently releases tight muscles. When you're in line with gravity, you don't have to hold yourself up with tight gripped muscles. Your bones hold your weight. Let me just repeat that. You don't have to hold yourself up. It is not part of your duty as a human being. You can let go into your bones and relax. If your bones are aligned with gravity, they will bear your weight. As you learn to be in original alignment, chronic tension in your shoulders, neck, and back will disappear. So if you go to massage to relieve your tight shoulders, it's a temporary fix. Original alignment takes away the reason that they get tight in the first place. Original alignment restores strength, especially in your abs and in your butt. When you live in a body that's aligned with gravity, daily life makes you strong. Just going for a walk exercises your abs and your glutes. How is this possible? Well, your body was designed by evolution to work with original alignment, to work with gravity. If instead you lift your chest and tuck your buttocks, you cut off your natural abdominal connections, and you also make it impossible for your glute muscles to fire. Original alignment increases mobility. When you're strong and flexible and pain-free, getting up and down off the floor is not a problem. You can bend, reach, and stretch without fear of injury. Original alignment frees your breath all day, every day, without complicated breathing exercises. When you're aligned with gravity and relaxed, your upper chest gets wider along the collarbones and longer in the upper ribs. You have a lot of lung tissue in your upper chest, all the way up to above your collarbones. When your shoulders are in place and your upper ribs are mobile, you naturally take a deeper breath. More oxygen equals more energy. Original alignment restores your spine to a healthy shape. Dowager's humps and overly rounded upper backs are not genetic, nor are they caused by aging, and they don't have to be permanent. If you change the postural habits that are currently shaping your spine, you will change the shape of your spine. And finally, original alignment can reverse premature aging. So, what changes do we associate with aging? Aches and pains, reduced mobility, reduced strength, shortness of breath, misshapen spines. Original alignment addresses all of them. When you put your weight in your bones and relax, you can age in reverse. The truth is, we don't really know what aging looks like. After 50, there's more variation in biological age than at any other time in our lives. Some 80-year-olds run marathons. Others can't walk around a city block. If you're willing to believe that something else is possible, to put in the work to learn it and the awareness to practice it, then your old age could look something like this instead. Original alignment is simple and effective. It's not easy, but the difficulty lies in taking off our cultural blinders and changing our habits. The rewards, comfort, relaxation, and a feeling of being at home in your body are more than worth it. There's a Chinese proverb that says, "Tension is who you think you ought to be, relaxation is who you are." May you come home to your body and experience the deep relaxation of living in original alignment. I'm Eve Johnson. Thank you for sharing this time with me.